More pressure on the government. Education campaigners are calling on the government to confirm that they're committed to educational health and care plans for young people after the Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, has refused to rule out axing them.
Well, joining us now is Early Education Minister Stephen Morgan. This has caused a lot of distress and upset to parents of children with EHCPs. I wonder if you can tell us why it has emerged as an issue, because clearly there are those who are suggesting overhauling the system and getting rid of them altogether.
Good morning, both. I mean, we inherited a system that was failing parents and failing vulnerable children, and we've announced that we will be publishing a white paper in the autumn. It's absolutely right that we get the right support in the right place for children. I listen really carefully to what parents up and down the country are telling us, and it's really important that we invest in mainstream inclusive education in schools and make sure there is the support for children with complex needs in specialist provision as well. We're listening carefully to what people have to say, and we'll be setting out more details in that white paper in the autumn. So
parents, I mean, I draw your attention to the panic and distress around PIP payments. There was a proposal that PIP payments would be cut for a huge number of people. Those in receipt became very, very worried. You U-turned on that and said, no, those in receipt of PIP right now will continue to receive, but new PIP payments won't be paid out. You U-turned on that and said, actually, we're not going to deal with the system at all. That is now completely shelved. And I can imagine that parents of children with EHCPs are thinking, is this exactly what we're going to have to go through until the education white paper? Is there any clarity that you can bring to it this morning?
Well, we want to build trust and confidence for parents so that they know that their child is getting the support that they need where they need it. We've already put money into the SEND system, so £1 billion announced early this year, also additional funding for extra places in schools, and also we've increased the early years pupil premium, so increased that significantly to make a difference. In our plan today, in our strategy that we're announcing today, the Best Start in Life strategy, we also recognise the important value of making sure children get access to good quality SEND support. In our Best Start family hubs, there will be a professional with a specialism around SEND as well. But we are absolutely listening to what parents and organisations have to say on SEND reform. The last government said it was a system that lose, lose, lose. We want to get it right for children with those additional needs, and that's absolutely our focus.
Which is what you said about all the welfare reforms that Susanna's just quoted. I mean, this is not a frivolous question, I promise you, but are you consulting your backbenchers? Because they seem to be the people who are deciding what you do and don't do on these issues now.
Yeah, we absolutely are. And obviously, Labour MPs stood on a platform, a manifesto commitment to reform the SEND system. There's been lots of debates in Parliament. I know that members of Parliament will be getting lots of things in their post bag on these issues. My own sister had to fight to get an EHCP for my nephew. So I know that the system is broken from personal experience, but we're listening carefully to what people have to say to make sure we get this support right for the future.
If the Labour backbenchers veto the proposals that you very carefully put together, you'll abandon them?
No, we're working really closely with sector experts from visits that we do, generating information and insight from those visits, as well as listening to colleagues in Parliament. The system is not working currently. We want to make sure we've got good quality, inclusive mainstream education, and for the complex cases, there's also the support via special schools as well. I want to make sure that we invest in early identification and intervention on SEND, because that sets a child up for life.
But you have a plan, but until you've spoken to everybody, you're not sure what the plan is. You see, the Labour manifesto over a year ago talked about ending the chaos on virtually every page, I think, of the manifesto. Latest opinion poll shows that voters think that you're as chaotic as the last lot, and they've got good reason to think that, haven't they?
Our plan will be set out in the white paper this autumn. Right now, we are listening to what parents, experts and others have to say to make sure we build a system that works. There is no silver bullet to solving the SEND crisis, but we're working really hard to engage with different organisations to get it right for the future. And I want to build trust and confidence in the system to make sure that every child, whatever their background, they can succeed and thrive at school, even if they have additional needs.
Is this something that you are under pressure from the Treasury to look at? Is this a cost cost-cutting measure, because that was the suspicion with PIP. And, of course, with the winter fuel, withdrawal of the winter fuel allowance as well? Or is this about genuinely looking at a system that many parents agree does not work properly for their child? Parents have to fight tooth and nail to get one of these EHCPs for their children, often going into battle for a protracted period of time with local councils. The trouble is you've squandered so much integrity and authority, haven't you? Because you haven't stuck to your guns or even persuaded your backbenchers on other policies. And these look like these are just top-down, Treasury-driven directives to say cut money where you can because we haven't got enough.
Well, look at the figures. We've actually put more money into the SEND system, the £1 billion for high needs announced last year, the extra money, the £740 million put in for more places in schools. What we've announced yesterday in terms of the Best Start family hubs, there will be a dedicated person, a professional in those family hubs to support family with SEND needs.
So you think that every single child who is applying for, entitled to an EHCP, and the £12 billion a year that's being spent, that is all justified? You have no concerns about the money that's being spent? This is simply about reforming a system that you, as the Early Years Minister, acknowledges does not work.
Yeah, the system's not working. I hear that from teachers, I hear that from professionals, I hear that from parents directly. I was with a head teacher last week who's recently retired as a head teacher of a special school. He said the system just isn't working and we need to look fresh at the ideas and suggestions ahead of the white paper to make sure we get it right for the future.
But do you acknowledge that the chaos over winter fuel allowance and the chaos and mixed messaging over welfare reform mean that a lot of parents might be very suspicious of what you're saying this morning?
And that's absolutely why we need to listen carefully to what parents are telling us. I do that on a weekly basis when I visit schools and nurseries across our country.
You may do, but, sorry, with respect, your own Prime Minister has said he spent so much time travelling abroad that he didn't listen carefully to what backbenchers had been saying to whips for months in the run-up to the welfare reform bill.
Well, we're part of a big team and all of us are contributing to this review. As an MP himself, the Prime Minister will know the strength of feeling on these issues. And I can assure your viewers today...
Sorry, can you say that with a straight face? When he read out a speech on immigration, he said he hadn't even looked at before and now regrets making. This is a Prime Minister who does not stick to his guns, who constantly U-turns on huge issues, which has undermined the credibility of the government in which you serve. And you can say, well, I'm sure he's really aware of what people are saying about this issue. How on earth do you know that's the case?
And I can also tell you this is a Prime Minister who invests in early education to make sure that every child gets the best start in life, setting a target to make sure more children are school-ready, putting £9 billion into the early education system to make sure that every child gets the best start in life. Wow. Our Best Start in Life strategy published today is going to make a real difference to children up and down the country to build confidence, give support to parents.
Those figures and arguments notwithstanding, the fact of the matter is that just over a year in, this government is in a tungsten jockstrap, isn't it? On the one side, you've got the political pressure on the doorstep from reform, which led to the winter fuel allowance U-turn. On the other side, you've got your own backbenchers who are telling the front bench what to do. You're in this nutcracker, aren't you?
Well, we're just getting on delivering change for our country that people voted for last year. Free breakfast clubs in primary schools, the 30 hours of funded childcare each week for parents up and down the country, increasing the eligibility for free school meals. We'll lift 100,000 children out of poverty.
And what about, just finally, before we let you go, lifting the two-child benefit cap?
So obviously the child poverty strategy is underway. That will report in the autumn. We're looking at all levers to bring down child poverty. Really proud of what we've already done on breakfast clubs, what we're doing on free school meals.
And if it's proved, as MPs suspect and claim constantly, that the two-child benefit cap actually leads to child poverty, you will lift it.
Well, nothing's changed. We're looking at all levers to bring down child poverty, but that's got to be done fiscally done well, and obviously we need to grow our economy. But we are looking at all levers to bring down child poverty. We will set out our strategy later this year.
OK. Stephen Morgan, thank you very much indeed, Early Education Minister.